Peter Locke now begins to pull away from the field with the pace car. He dives to the infield. It is now up to Mike Capuchetti and Larry Ross to bring the field around to look for the green.
No question about it. They're ready in rows of two. They anticipate the green off turn number 4. The official flag is thrown, and Mike Capuchetti turn number 1. Phil Collins is right there in his back bumper. Now Phil Collins will make a bid for the lead. Not enough as they come off the turn. Capuchetti leads him down the back straightaway, but here comes Brad Thrall. He is now moved into position number 3. Thrall is on his way to the front, but so is Jeff Berry with car 22.
An awful lot of the drivers begin to slide the time as they work their way off the turn into back to turn number 1. They're looking to gain position very, very quickly early in the race here tonight, Ben. Off the turn they go. One of the drivers trying to make them off to the front is the 4 of Mike Marquette. But Scott Gorman is right there with car number 9 as he works the high side. The 8 of Mercer still gives it up the same flag as Bob Mercer will pull to the infield.
No question about it. We've got a real battle shaping up just out of the top 5. Mike Marquette leads that group of cars. It's Chuck Doherty is right there to contend behind him. Then it's Gorman, Pat Chambrello. Then we've got Rick Donnelly stuck on the inside with Bob Potter. Off the turn, the outside lane looks slick. Right behind Gorman, Jerry Pearl and Teddy Christopher running nose to tail, and that's the hot spot currently on the racetrack. The inside lane suddenly looks quick as a parade of cars head down pit road, among them being Mike Christopher with car number 82.
Off the turn they come. Right now, all eyes begin to focus in on Rick Donnelly, car number 1, the 51 of Potter, and this 71 of Bo Gunning. Jerry Pearl, the 13 of Ted Christopher. All of those cars smack dab in the middle of that pack. And the Antone's Bartending School, car number 13 for the Rock. Also just slightly off the tape for a moment as Ronnie Rocco begins to make his first go as well.
No question about it. Ronnie Rocco is now moving into that pack of cars that are starting to get strung out just a bit. Among the cars to break away is Rick Donnelly with car number 1. He gets through rather nicely, and now Bob Potter goes to the inside of Pat Chambrello. Bo Gunning is still there to contend. Here's Teddy Christopher on the outside. Only Eddie Fryers bobbles just a bit. He gets crossed up. John Anderson is also coming towards the front of the field with car number X of Teddy Christopher.
Christopher always a threat with car number 13. He is one virtually everything there is to win here for the last few seasons. Christopher looking for a big win on Monday, hoping to pick up another $2,000 in bonus money. He's already collected $2,000 this year.
Here comes Rick Donnelly now. He has just went around Larry Ross, except Ross was stopped on the racetrack. That's how quick they came up on him, and now Bob Potter is doing the same thing. Right behind him is Teddy Christopher, and then he's John Anderson and Bo Gunning. There's a real battle shaping up there. We've got one around. It looks like the Hill car, but now we see down the back straightaway, it is Potter diving beneath the Ross automobile as we go to yellow. And that yellow comes out for number 66 that is setting stranded for Dave Hill, just coming off turn number 4. Richie Gallup is heading to the pit area. Bernie Singer has been out for several laps. He also heads back to the pits.
Everybody, September 10th is going to be a special show down at Waterford. They weren't scheduled to run, but it's going to be twin 30-lap features for the modifieds, twin 20s for the late models, and twin 10s for the strictly stocks. And it'll be...
And Donnelly, of course, a very, very accomplished chauffeur. Many, many years of experience under his belt. Keep an eye on that red and white car number 1, the Superior Ford machine.
Well, in rows of 2, they are set to go back to green. Chris Hopkins steers them down once again. The green is out. Mike Capuchetti again shows why he has maintained the lead for 8 laps. Right there, glued to the back bumper of Mike Paquette. Both of those cars, ironically, are built with racing engines. Down the back straightaway, Donnelly looks for some racing room on the outside. And they say if that Ford can get hooked up on the outside of this racetrack, there'd be no stopping it. It is a powerhouse, and we're seeing a sample of that right now.
Number 1, he managed to get right on by Mike Paquette. Now he's just zeroes right in on the rear bumper of the Gil Collins machine. Into turn number 3, makes it look like a piece of cake. And the only other one venturing up on the outside right now is Chuck Doherty. As Donnelly
No question about it. Doherty is looking very impressive on the outside. The rookie competitor is showing some of the veterans the quickest way around this track, and tonight it appears to be in the outside lane. While that's happening, back up front, Brad Crawl is looking for some racing room on the bottom. Then he shifts to the outside, right there on the back bumper of car number 1 as they set up and come off the second turn. We're going to see a bid for the lead real soon as they head down the back straightaway. Now Donnelly sees nothing but clear sailing between him and position number 3.
Brad Thrall has had a very, very impressive 1988 season. He has not ended up in the winner's circle, but he has been exceptional wherever he runs. Phil Collins spins into the infield. We'll have to see if he can refire that machine. If not, we're going to end up going to caution because the car is in a very dangerous position.
Let's see what's going to happen. It's up to the NASCAR officials on what will occur. Off the turn, they come back down, and it appears that we are not going to go to a caution here. Apparently, no. Now we do go to caution here. Phil Collins still stranded in a position that Russ had mentioned, the same manner that Phil Collins
was looking back through some old material the other evening and found
him, or it could be continued. You will decide the fate of auto racing coverage, the racing here at Stafford, and other great facilities in New England.
green flag is back up, and they get back for turn number 1.
No question about it. In turn number 2, the story is pretty much the same, but it is a battle among the ones for position number 1. Donnelly's got that Ford really hitched up. It is literally hammering the back bumper of Capacetti as they come off the turn. Rick Donnelly says, I am there and ready to go for the truck. Donnelly is flying here tonight. He is right there in position number 2, and then Bob Potter has snuck into the 3rd spot with Teddy Christopher, the winningest driver here this season. Here comes Donnelly, an aggressive bid for it on the bottom. Can't do it this time. Now he looks for some racing room on the outside. Leaves the door open. Here comes Bob Potter. 4 cars. They've got 5 or 6. That's what's happening now with 50 laps showing on the Winston Racing Series scoreboard.
Wonderful open wheel modified racing here on the half mile as Mike Capacetti out of Meriden, Connecticut leads Stratford ace Rick Donnelly off the turn. Ted Christopher right there with the 13, the 51 of Bob Potter, almost together. Christopher, everybody plays a little bumper tag. The Caterpillar effect takes hold. Bo Gunning leads on the rear bumper of Brad Thrall, and this time by the halfway marker will be shown.
Off the turn, Teddy Christopher has now moved around Bob Potter, and now Teddy Christopher looking for Donnelly in the Ford with car number 1. Now Christopher makes the move to the bottom side of the racetrack. He puts the pedal to the metal. Down the back straightaway, Ford versus Chevrolet, and the Ford has the advantage of the top-end power to maintain position number 2. The turn's a different story. Handling takes its toll here. They come off the turn pretty much evenly matched. Then it's to turn number 1. It is Christopher to run the bottom line blue. Bob Potter waits for that one move that makes him a factor in this one. Teddy Christopher is up to position number 2. 18 laps and counting away.
It is a real battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th as Donnelly and Potter quickly come together and include Donnelly greatly as something has let go in that race car.
It's the left front tire that apparently got caught on car number 1. Rick Donnelly, bad luck continues. The left front tire is cut as he was running in contention right up front of him. And they're calling for 1 additional lap. And it does appear that the Donnelly car will make it back out, perhaps just in the nick of time.
This time by. So it is Mike Capacetti out of Meriden, Connecticut, Plainville's Ted Christopher, who needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever. The man has purchased from Jack LaRouche a very large portion of Victory Lane, and he now owns it. Green flag back out. Here comes Capacetti down on the inside. Surprisingly, Capacetti leads them off the turn. Take that kid. Just battles right back real hard. Drops right down low on the racetrack. Immediately drifts back to the high spot and takes it deep into turn number 3 up on the outside. Then it's going to be a real battle from here down to the wire with Capacetti and Christopher up front doing off that 4th turn, but he was
contending with Crawl. He did a dance as they came off the turn. Spires had the problem, then suddenly Ron Rocco tags the wall extremely hard just beneath the caution lights, approaching turn number 2, and Rocco's car said stranded on the racetrack. It's become kind of his trait. And now, as we can see, his car is severely damaged, just approaching turn number 2. Rocco is out of the automobile. He checks over things on the Anton bartending school. He's taking the high road, and he's taking the low road.
But did you notice what a good doobie that No-No was? Directional light and all.
That's
Let everybody
right.
know where he was
Very
going.
courteous.
He doesn't know where he's going, but looks like we are just about ready to get going with the races. 20 laps up on the scoreboard, 15 left to run. Here we go. Green flag back out. It is Camposetti on the inside. Christopher up on the outside. A carbon copy of the last restart.
Turn number 2. Only the best man will win in this one, and Mike Camposetti now finds Bo Gunning, the silent factor here. Gunning saw the door open. Suddenly it slammed shut on him, and now Teddy Christopher is looking for some racing room that perhaps don't exist. Christopher gets out of shape. He makes contact with Eddie Spires. Jerry Pearl also involved in the mix-up here. The Spires machine sets beneath the Jerry Pearl car on the front straightaway.
There is fire burning what appears to be out of the headers of Jerry Pearl car. Eddie Spires out of his machine.
Well, an unbelievable...
Frank Scavato taking care of that problem.
Yep, an unbelievable chain of events occurring off the 4th turn as Teddy Christopher got a little bit out of shape. Before you know it, everybody was involved in a squeeze play, and the end results was a lot of people getting crossed up with Jerry Pearl literally up and on top of Eddie Spires, number 3X.
Fortunately, Ed is out of the car, walking around. He seems to be okay. Jerry is getting some assistance getting out of the race car. The 86 of Bobby Georgiadis also involved, and Bobby is climbing out of his race car. He appears to be okay. Jerry Pearl now climbing out of the race car. And Jerry also appears to be okay. A little shaken maybe after getting quite a ride up in the air. How about a nice round of applause for all 3 of those drivers?
You know, as you look at the front straightaway area, it reminds me of something that happened here at the Speedway a long, long time ago. And it involved one of the S&S race cars way back here, several years ago. There was a gentleman, I'm trying to think of his name, drove for the S&S race cars crew. Got crossed up coming off the 4th turn and literally took down the front straightaway fencing. In addition to that, almost took down the starter stand.
I remember that very well.
Yes. Sonny. What was the name? I want to say Barton or something like that.
Ed Barton.
Ed Barton, maybe?
Ed Barton.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
I believe you're right.
Barton. It was the
I'm
S&S
sure that
race
if you
car.
ask Frank Scambato Sr. or Eddie LaRue,
They could tell
either
you.
one of them could tell you without batting an eyelash, because both of them were on top of the starter stand
Yes,
at
they
the
were.
time.
It was Eddie Barton. Chuck Jeffries just said, you guys have got it. It was Eddie Barton.
Well, Spears is in a lot of sheet metal damage, but you can see everything up front there. You saw it develop. Christopher was able to make it through the mess, but it backfired later on, and everything happened after that.
Mickey taking a look at the car, and obviously had reason to be concerned, as it was his son that was underneath. Fortunately, Ed was able to jump right out of the race car, but it just goes to show the roller coaster ride that you live on in the automobile racing business. It was less than 1 week ago that Ed Spires and the crew basked in victory lane at the Thompson Speedway after an absolutely magnificent event that featured probably one of the best driving exhibitions that we've seen in a long, long time, with Ed Spires and Bob Potter, and the 2 of them just really going right at it, tooth and nail, and yet giving each other plenty of room, and not pushing each other around the racetrack at all. In fact, I was talking with those folks a little bit earlier. We very pleased to announce that we have even more company up here tonight.
We sure do. It's good to see him back, too.
It sure is. Brian McCarthy has made it back after his little trip. Do you feel well enough to talk to us for a few seconds?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, just try this right here. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Well, as best I can, anyways. We're a little bruised up. I got a bruised neck, bruised shoulder, and 3 broken ribs. But I'm a survivor.
3 broken ribs. Do they have you in any kind of a belt?
No, they just said that's what you get right there. You just go home and you'll be sore. So I guess I'll be sore. Yeah, I'm no marshmallow.
Well, we're going to find out come either tomorrow night or Sunday, because you still have a lot of racing left to go.
Yeah, tomorrow night we race Waterford, and then Sunday we race Thompson, and I'm going to race.
Well,
no quitter.
That's what we expect from Brian McCarthy, who always gives the fans a real run for the money. This guy's a real showman. And, you know, we talked about Bugsy Stevens just a few minutes ago, type of competitor he is in Ron Rocco. Well, Brian McCarthy's one of those competitors, too. When they come to see him run, they get every bit of their money's worth.
They sure do.
No question about that.
Brian, I'll tell you, it's really good to see you back here. And I mentioned that you'd be back here tonight. So...
yeah, I didn't want to stay. I didn't want to stay at the hospital. I don't like counting those dots at the on the ceiling there. But we'll be back next week here, and like I say, tomorrow we'll race tomorrow. Decision on that one.
Well, another decision is about to be reached.
Certainly is.
And that decision is reached by Chris Hopkins as to whether to wind him up and let him go or not. The pace car is in. They stand on the throttle. The decision has been made, and here they come under green off the turn. Mike Capacetti leads the charge. Ted Christopher in second. And now in third with car number 71.
No question about it. The same type of a battle that was taking place before the caution came out is still occurring on the racetrack. Teddy Christopher is right there knocking on heaven's door. He taps the back bumper of Mike Capacetti as they come off the turn. Capacetti still leads him and brings him back down to the line.
Into turn 1. Capacetti gets a little bit high. Christopher tries to turn it into payday, but can't do it as Mike closes the door immediately, and Christopher has to look to the outside. He can't make the move as they go through 3 and 4. 22 laps this time by 35 is the scheduled distance. It is Capacetti and Christopher followed by Gunny.
Rick Conley is coming back to the front of the field. Remember, he pitted with a tire problem, and he is now among the top 10 automobiles. The Ford is coming back to the front of this field, but the challenge is on, and it could go any of 5 different ways. We've got 5 cars literally running nose to tail as they come back to the line.
Donnelly certainly is on a roll. He manages now to get by a little runner. Drops down to the inside. Larry Ross is next, and the 1 is on a roll. Here comes Christopher to the inside. This time he found the daylight he needed. Capacetti up on the outside. Christopher picks up the lead as they exit turn number 4, and Teddy appears to be almost unbeatable on this racetrack.
No question about it. Teddy Christopher is now back in command of this event. That's where he knows how to run this racetrack. In position number 1, he has been the driving force all season long, and now he leads him and is starting to pull away off turn number 4.
At the start-finish line, Christopher now has about a 4-car length advantage over Mike Capacetti. Capacetti runs in the second spot. Bo Gunning is third. The battle for fourth has the 4 of Paquette down on the inside and the 93 of Brad Thrall up on the outside. Paquette tries to make the move work, and he does. This time by the 4. Moves into the 4th spot, and the 93 now rounds up the top 5. Car number 1 is also Donnelly. And the 51 of Potter begins to dice it up. And Pat Chambrello is also part of that 3-way run off the turn. Bo Gunning now finds running room underneath Capacetti. And Bo Gunning moves in to pick up the 2nd spot. The 88 of Savage goes around in turn 2. He refires that car. We remain under green. Paquette also looks to find running room underneath Mike Capacetti, but Mike is able to hold off the charge as they exit turn 2, head down this long back straightaway, and right now, the first 3 cars are pretty well spread out as Gunning is trying desperately to close the gap on leader Ted Christopher. 30 laps on the scoreboard. We have 5 left to run in this feature event sponsored by your local CarQuest Auto Parts store. Christopher off the turn, this time by 31 on the scoreboard and 4 laps left to run. Gunning driving the car that he normally uses to compete at the Waterford Speed Bowl, sliding into the infield area. And it looks like we may, in fact, we do go to caution. We have a spin down in turn number 1 as well. That appears to be the Larry Ross car, but it is not.
The right price, at the right price, the right place to buy auto parts.
Looks like we could get a start this time by as the pace car dives to the infield, and the 13 of Christopher suddenly jumps out in front. Green flag flies, and it is Christopher Gunning, Mike Paquette, and Mike Caposetti as they head back for turn number 1. Caposetti down on the inside, Paquette up on the outside. Bob Potter finds running room up and around Brad Thrall as Potter now moves in to challenge not only Thrall but also tries to get the nose underneath the 4 of Paquette. Off the turn they come. The 2-lap marker displayed to the field with Christopher and Gunning leading the charge. Christopher on the high side, Gunning getting way down low but can't make the move work that time by. As they exit turn 4, the white flag will be waving, and we'll begin to the final circuit of the half mile. Off the turn, Ed Christopher, Bill Gunning, Mike Caposetti, Mike Paquette, Bob Potter. That's the way they run as they head down the back straightaway for the final time here tonight. And the final Friday night feature event is about to hit the finish line. Off the turn and heading for the checkers. It is car number 13 and Ed Christopher. Bill Gunning finishes in the second spot. Mike Caposetti is third. The 4th position goes to car number 4 for Mike Paquette, and rounding out the top 5 is car number 51 for Bob Potter. So Ted Christopher makes it 7 features for himself. The 8th time in the 1988 season that car has been in victory lane here. One night driven by John Anderson. So 8 feature wins for the Christopher car, 7 of them for Teddy himself. And Ted Christopher wheels that machine into Winston Victory Lane to wrap up the Friday night programs here at the Speedway. Before we go trackside for Ben, just a reminder that we'll be back on Labor Day. The gates will open for ticket sales at 10. Racing begins at 1 o'clock Monday afternoon, Labor Day. Let's go trackside now. Once again, here's Ben.
Thank you very much, Russ. Down in the winner's circle, he's getting the plaque right up front, which makes him a guaranteed starter in the running of the Camp 2 Race of Champions at the Pocono International Speedway. Chris Hopkins presents him with that plaque, and Teddy Christopher will be getting out of the car, going to Winston Victory Lane to pick up the CarQuest accolades, along with the good folks from Wagner Brake. And Bob Christopher has done it once again, securing yet another victory. What happened early in the event, though? When you came off the 4th turn, you got a little bit out of shape, and then it was a chain reaction situation around you. What happened there?
Well, in the beginning up there in 1 and 2, Mike got me up a little high there, you know, and he went up, his right rear went over my left front. I don't know if it screwed up the car, you know, when I come down at the 3, and then out of 4, and it just got, you know, a little loose there, and I don't know if I got tapped or not, but it just, that's what happened. I lucked out, you know. The other guys, I feel sorry for him, but hey, that's racing.
Well, you did a great job. Another victory to add to your credit, and you're going to go, are you going to go to the Pocono International Raceway and run in the Race of Champions?
I don't know. I don't have a modified, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, this car was running as quick, if not quicker, than some of those cars do. We wish you the very best. The good folks from CarQuest and Wagner are joining us here for the presentations. Teddy, it has been a great year for you here at Stafford.
Yeah, it has. It's, you know, I can't ask for anything better. It's, I just hope we do good the last 2 races and try to win the tri-track and the other 2 track championships and maybe Waterford. I don't know.
Well, a very deserving competitor. I'm going to step down. We'll go back upstairs to Russ down. Ladies and gentlemen, Teddy Christopher, our winner in the modifieds.
And so the 1988 Friday night season here at the Stafford Motor Speedway comes to a close, and what a great, great season it has been.